Brand new day, welcome. This is Onside with me, Joshua Holotu. You can also call me Top High Fabrizio. And I'm going to bring you all the latest in the transfer market in the world of sports. Bidding Komo Bibri, Nyema Bibri, Air Koso market. And I have some updates for you from across the world. But key amongst them, the Edimwa Kotinipa transfer stories, because Nyema be Air Koso transfer. So, of course, Fabrizio Romano, the man himself, he's on the headlines, breaking down a lot of stories that are happening as far as the transfers are concerned. Mr. Remo, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications. Anytime I drop a video, be one of the first people to receive it. Let's build a community over here. Yandi football home, come on. Let's talk about the transfers. Let's do everything that has to do with the sports. Have very nice discussions over here. You can also drop your comments, right? Drop your comments about whatever we are discussing. What stories do you want to hear? What teams do you want me to talk about? We'll play a bena or transfer so person will say catch me in the comments. But welcome to the channel and thank you so much for choosing to be here. I'm really grateful and I really appreciate all the support, the love that has been coming over the last few days. Now, let's go straight into the stories because look, Manchester City have sent a first official bid to Olympique Marseille for a Geronimo Rulli. Until the discussions have started, Manchester City, they want to go in for Brant Geronimo Rulli. Now, me the sub player no, then come on ebe brand with CCR because he's an Argentine player and he's quite old, but I think there's a specific reason why Manchester City want to go for Abrantiano. And Ibedi San Komono because I want to get the understanding of some particular deal with Geronimo Rulli. He's quite an experienced player and or a goalkeeper actually. And it looks like what Manchester City want to do is that they want to reinforce that goalkeeping department after the exit of James Trafford out of Free City called Leeds United. No? And in getting an experienced goalkeeper, they would want that goalkeeper to be quite competitive to Donnarumma. So I can understand why they want to go in for a Geronimo Rulli, Abrantia or a Argentina or a goalkeeper, or team a friend Olympique de Marseille. So that is it coming from that place as well. But Manchester City, I think they are still in talks for Ayub Buadi. There are no updates concerning that particular deal. Minya updates be Mama Swati concerning Manchester City and player from Ayub Buadi. Now, Franco Mastantuono will be the next one to leave Real Madrid on loan to Fiorentina. There are still advanced talks at Air Koso, but Fiorentina are leading the race for the player, with the player open to a move. And that deal would depend on the salary coverage, but talks are still underway. Into Franco Mastantuono, very, very good player for team at Real Madrid, would go on loan. Akoboka cry with Fiorentina, but of course, you all know, say Real Madrid, no, they've sold Cesar Palacios as well as Gonzalo Garcia, two very young players, no. They've sold them to Fulham to go and join Alvaro Arbeloa and Bekasa Tremo. So he's the next person to leave, which means we could see a couple of incomings for Real Madrid before the window will close. And I want to believe, say, manager Ferran Jose Mourinho. Of course, he has the full complement of the squad right now. Most of them have arrived. And signings of Peswami, Wayedada, Kukureya Aba, Denzel Dumfries Aba, Bernardo Silva Aba, right? Ibrahim Konate so Aba. So you'd expect that he'll be able to help them to get together. But there are a couple of young players as a Peswami loan or he's shipping them off. Yeah, let's see how that would turn out for Real Madrid. I still believe Sergio Mourinho has his full control over the squad and he's going to help them to settle down in a proper way, even as the season begins. Inti yedi ni beto form na yahwe the way nyamba bisia ko ama Real Madrid this particular season eba. Now there's also some updates on Ferran Torres. Yesterday I told you about Ferran Torres, right? Ferran Torres says that the only thing I think I know is that I'll return soon to training at Barcelona. So let's see what happens. I think it's the same thing at Enamikaye. Ferran Torres, he himself knows that he's in the news. And I mean, I'm really sure that one of the things that Ferran Torres is now beginning to utilize as a medium to get either a better contract at Barcelona or to move to a PSG, and say, also in time past, we've not really had that full respect for Ferran Torres. When you look at the Spanish boys that play for even Barcelona, who are currently, I'll say, mid-age, you will not really give so much respect to Ferran Torres. But after that goal he scored at the FIFA World Cup final against Argentina, ultimately say Abrante and the stocks are cost kakra. Oh yeah, the stocks are cost kakra. And as we speak now, I think that is where the leverage is coming from. And I don't know, Samutia Rodri was on record to have said this guy, he deserves a lot of credit that he's not been given. Interferent ultimately say, I don't know, in so to request for a better conversation and negotiation between himself and Barcelona. And then possibly, if he has to leave for PSG, I think that would be one of the things that he used to get a very good deal. Yeah, Ferran Torres. So we'll keep in mind with Ferran Torres. Now, Neymar and Swakasa. Neymar da Silva. He says, I'm not thinking about retirement. I'm under contract at Santos until December. I want to do my best for the club. After that, I'll consider my options. Stay, leave, retire, keep playing. I don't know. There's still time until December. We'll see. But of course, Brazil national team, Neymar has been established already. But for club level, I'm say in semi by Neymar, is he fit or not fit? Controversies in semi break. But Neymar say retirement the Anshana and he wants to still play. Right? And I'm say, from between now and 2030, a lot of legends are going to phase out of the game. Yeah. Into Lionel Messi is still not cast in stone whether he is going to play for Argentina again. The official announcement hasn't come. But between now and 2030, we'll not see Messi playing active football for Argentina. Right? See Ronaldo, the same thing for Portugal. An official announcement hasn't come yet. But all of these players are in the twilight of their careers. For Neymar Junior and Mpodie, ultimately said injuries are affecting him. Right? Otherwise, the kind of Neymar we saw when he started coming up, 2015, 2016, when he was in his prime, Barcelona. Look, we should have still expected Neymar to keep on playing at this point, where Messi and Ronaldo are facing off. No, Neymar should have. This should have been the prime Neymar. This should have time Neymar so bob explosive, electric. He still play for national team. But even at this point, national team Nempono. Look at the World Cup that was played in US, Canada, and Mexico. The controversy say free now so ever. So I get it when he says he's not ready for retirement. Biana in his mindset, he's ready to still play. But is his body going to align with him? That's the question. Because his body has kept on failing him for a while now. Injuries. I'm one. And when I watch Neymar, I'm very sad. We didn't get to see the Neymar that we saw when he started playing. When he was a very great guy for Corinthians. Was it Corinthians or Santos, right? Before he came into the limelight. Look, that guy was just a different kind of player. We'll keep our eyes on Abrante Neymar. And we wish him all the best. Now, guys, Rangers have reached a verbal agreement to sign Daisuke Yokota from Hannover 96. The 26-year-old Japanese winger is set for a move worth a 3.3 million euros fixed fee plus 700,000 euros add-ons. The Rangers are also making signings over there. Rangers making some signings. And I think the other latest news that I need to bring to you guys, and it's the Bruno Guimaraes saga is still ongoing. As it stands right now, I brought you that information yesterday. Said we're handing in transfer requests. He wants to leave the club. But he has joined a Newcastle in La Manga in Spain for a pre-season. And I think over there, he really registered his displeasure about how Newcastle haven't helped him out. Brought a free or call Arsenal last one move blocking move. No, 75 million pounds bid rejected by Newcastle. But you see, there's something happening for Newcastle Also, Newcastle on Saturday, I said it on Ishara Power Sports that Newcastle as a club, when they were taken over by a PIF, Public Investment Fund of Free Saudi Arabia, one of the things that was really expected was that they were going to be very competitive. They haven't been competitive. final tone chain. They have sold star players. Sandro Tonali is gone. We have a player like Anthony Gordon, who left. Alexander Isak, he left previously in the last window, went to Liverpool. Now they're on the verge of losing Bruno G and Lewis Hall. And one of the main reasons why Coach Ifeno Eddie Howe cast on to Edmediano. So, because he didn't understand how the management sat there, and after all this investment, it seems like they are not able to replace these departures. But you know the thing, there's a current ruler, a Premier League, more a friend, squad cost ratio rule. The squad cost ratio rule, and it said teams in the Premier League omuntimi spend over 85% of annual turnovers. Inti se oye club ewo English Premier League. Now annual turnover sika wunya ewo club no mu. Eye ABIBT said 340 million pounds, and that is the situation for Newcastle for no. Omo annual turnover sika omunya in terms of revenue for a Newcastle team no is 340 million pounds. They can only spend 85% of that amount on transfers and sporting related activities. That's on the pitch related activities. Into transfers, player sales, player salary, wages, amortization. They can only spend 85% of a turnover. And that is according to the squad cost ratio rule in the Premier League right now. In the situation here, this is the situation of Newcastle United. They've been a turnover of just about 340 million pounds. Compare that to teams like Manchester City, who have an annual turnover of over 640 million pounds. Same as Arsenal as well. So when it comes to spending power in the Premier League, Arsenal and Manchester City have more spending powers compared to Newcastle. So they now have to try and make more money. Now, in making more money, it means they would have to make sure that whatever player is going out now, they will make the maximum out of it. Because Bruno G 28 years, and you are selling for 75 million pounds, and that bid is even being rejected. Of course, the player will not be happy. Player no nini. But you can suppose him say, in the past we have sold our players for maybe hefty amounts, but still we are struggling to bring in new recruitments or meet me about Newcastle for and make them competitive. So that is why we see a lot of players leaving Newcastle for huge amounts. They're not able to make much money. So that they can be able to spend more. The approach has totally changed. They say some person and build the squad because Omo club CEO or see they want to be competing for the league title by 2030. It's a person competing for the league by 2030, and the approach is that okay, now let's go for young players there. Maybe that could work with a new manager or by Matthias Jaiso. Maybe that is what they will give him as a project. So by 2030 we want to win the league, but now we cannot spend so much. Of course, all our star players are going. We'll try and sell them for hefty amounts. But now, maybe we'll go for young players and try. And that is one thing mid-table clubs area. Fulham have gone to bring Gonzalo Garcia and Cesar Palacios from Real Madrid for a combined fee of less than 50 million pounds. Now, look at what they are doing. Strategy. Mid-table clubs. The Brentford are doing the same thing. Bournemouth are doing the same thing. Brighton and Hove Albion too are doing the same thing. They build the squad, use the young players, get out of a certain understanding. Then if they have a very good manager who can use his ingenuity to prepare these players and help them very well, they're able to make enough money over the next 2 to 3 years because our talents now more far, so young players. No? Yes, they may help them to be able to build a project to a certain point, but when it's time for them to leave to the top 6 clubs, they will go for hefty amounts. In this I know they are Fulham for no. Of course, their new coach is Alvaro Arbeloa. He knows Cesar Palacios very well. He knows Gonzalo Garcia very well. They have worked with him in the Castilla, Real Madrid for junior side, no. So it tells you for a fact that look, what is happening in the Premier League is something that we should take note of. Because he deserves also your recruitment. But look at Fulham. Look at Alvaro Arbeloa. Players are only he's comfortable with. And don't forget, Fulham, they've lost a couple of players. Harry Wilson, a free Collins United. Then they also lost Raul Jimenez. He went back to Wolves. Rodrigo Muniz Carvalho is not the kind of player that he has been all through the season last year. So it makes sense, with the incoming of Arbeloa, he's coming with players that he knows already. So he can be able to get the most out of them. Look at Gonzalo Garcia. 4 goals at the FIFA Club World Cup for Real Madrid. And then following that in the season, he did so well. Of course, he's just 22 years. But you're beating the amount in front of the goal. No? It's something that Fulham need this season. And I'll not be shocked if Fulham becomes a very competitive side. Sabbath class season way. I'll not be shocked. I will not be shocked, guys. So those are the things coming in from a Premier League, and there'll be more updates. I'll be bringing them to you. Marc-Andre ter Stegen has completed his season-long loan deal from Barcelona to Ajax. It is done. Ter Stegen, we'll see him in Ajax Calesa season way. Okay, guys, Munti exclusive. AS Monaco are preparing a £25 million bid to sign a branch friend Romeo Lavia this summer. Chelsea are expected to receive the offer as soon as Monaco step up their interest with the injury hit Belgium. The Blues are planning a major squad overhaul under Xabi Alonso with several departures expected. I was waiting for this. Konami him say, with the kind of players that are coming into Chelsea currently, Abian and Romeo Lavia, he may not survive. He's one of the players I really admire and I love so much. But the way Oba Chelsea the way Oba Chelsea intimate working man, I am a if I want one player who hasn't had a very good Chelsea career in recent time, it's Romeo Lavia, and it hurts me so bad. Because before the player joined Chelsea, I saw him as one of the star players. When you watch him for team my friend Man City when he was younger, look, the guy was super, right? And anytime I watch Romeo Lavia, if you leave Chelsea, but I would not be surprised because as it stands right now, if a team wants to come and take him and they can manage with his injuries, £25 million may not be a bad offer. Let me just check how much Chelsea for Eto Romeo Lavia. But I'll not be disappointed if Chelsea lets him go for £25 million. Nah, I will not be disappointed because Romeo Lavia himself, I don't know. The Chelsea fought Romeo Lavia for £53 million with an additional £5 million sign-on. Sorry, add-on. Somebody else here. And yeah, we bought him from Southampton. That was a hefty price tag. So a 25 million sale to Monaco would be a huge downgrade. But because he has not had, I really think saying Xabi Alonso will beat me on a chance there. But with the kind of income inside there, I think Xabi Alonso will beat me on a chance there. But with the kind of income inside there, I think Romeo Lavia may want to go and try a new experience. Let's see how that goes. Ibenya updates BFU in the coming days. Yeah. Vinicius Junior's Real Madrid future hangs in the balance with contract talks reaching a decisive stage this week. The Brazilian wants a significantly improved salary package, including a loyalty bonus, and refuses to earn over 10 million euros less per season than Kylian Mbappe. If no agreement is reached, Real Madrid are prepared to sell him this summer, with Arsenal closely monitoring the situation. Look, Vinicius Junior just wants the money. And Sankomo Ebedia until we see what happens, whether he gets a new contract or he moves to Arsenal. Whatever happens, what Vinicius Junior wants is more money. And I heard yesterday, according to some reports, say it looks like even Arsenal for interest is being staged. Interquest say Andre Beta, who is at Arsenal, even though he has a very good relationship in terms of the Spanish, system, he's trying to make sure that Vinny Junior, if he has to come and play for team my friend who say Arsenal, at least he makes a case for himself at Real Madrid. In the sense, currently, that negotiation and the fact that Arsenal are ready to pay him his wages and whatever he wants, is a big news. To Arsenal, it's going to be a very huge movement away from what they traditionally do at Omo team, because Arsenal would have to alter their wage structure to accommodate Vinicius Junior at this point. You are paying him nothing less than £500,000 a week. That's £500,000 every week. You are paying him all his image rights. And yes, so maybe that could be something that it makes sense. Say they are trying everything possible to make sure say player will be a new contract or Arsenal or Real Madrid. But whatever happens, if Arsenal are prepared to really make sure that the deal goes through, it also helps them benefit immensely. And Obi and Timmy Fasad in fear. You cannot take that away. So decisive stage, maybe sound common. But of course, Chelsea have received multiple inquiries for Abrante FNA Mihailo Mudryk and Rami decided Semno Ebituja say Mihailo Mudryk will go on loan, right? Now he's on the radar of Coventry City as well as Strasbourg. Chelsea for non compensation Okobo Strasbourg for a loan, maybe for the whole season and then come back. But they will track his performance during the period. But as it stands now, no, Liverpool, sorry, Coventry through Frank Lampard and so air per player. No. And Yanshwe AB Ajabi Alonso will help the player to decide what he needs to do. Liverpool have no intention of selling Cody Gakpo. And now, Yedebetu just said Tottenham Hotspur were chasing Cody Gakpo and he could go for nothing less than £72 million. But as my airban or pay Yedebetu and they say Liverpool have no intention of selling Cody Gakpo. The Reds want to strengthen their attack and not weaken it as they continue working on a deal for Bradley Barcola. Gakpo remains highly valued at Anfield and would require a huge offer for Liverpool to reconsider that. And so, of course, it's not said it's an impossibility. No, I'm telling you for a fact, say team be at the 80 million, 85 million at the call Liverpool. So more Peko the Gakpo is here. Liverpool be disciplined Amanako. And Sasikano, Omunya they will go and bring Pedro Neto and I'm Bekai. And that is just what it is. This is the transfer market, so guys. Nothing happens for fun. Nothing really happens for fun. And the money is and a story is not about you think so maybe say, but Charlie, let the money flow. You see how the movements will happen as quick as possible. Until then, let's keep our eyes on Abrante FNA Cody Gakpo. Maybe he may leave or he may stay. Genesis entry, Chelsea fullback no occur. Team my friend SC Strasbourg. Yeah, Genesis entry, SC Strasbourg signed loan. Yeah, it's good for the guy. Arsenal and Newcastle are now in direct talks for over Bruno G. Clubs are expecting say the deal will be completed. Me say Bruno G beko. Arsenal for no bien can come to me. Bruno G will go, but it's a transfer fee that is being discussed now. So now the bid was rejected. The opening bid was rejected, but negotiations are continuing over a fee between 75 and 80 million, and that should be enough. Bruno G has informed Newcastle of a soccer. Until we will see something happening in the next few hours. Until Bianchi that news will come out. As now for Mamunshu, that transfer will happen, right? It is going to happen. Guys, beyond your Monday, yesterday I brought you an update concerning that standoff between any agents now, friend, Rock Nation and his previous agents, friend, Maxidel, led by Max Gradel. The news is that Yandi Monday will not travel with RB Leipzig for their preseason training camp as Madrid continue with the negotiations. Real Madrid's improved bid of 120 million euros was a bit below Leipzig for an valuation of 130 million euros. All parties are confident that a deal will be reached. Leipzig insists Diomande is absent due to illness, while talks over his transfer to Madrid continue. This is according to The Athletic. So, Yan Diomande, the transfer would happen, but there's a legal dispute that is coming up because of the standoff between the agents, no? So that is the news coming in from Abrante. That's right. Guys, Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford is targeted by a couple of clubs, so guys, and it's possible to be Freeman United. Marcus Rashford. I think a few days ago I brought you that news. It was possible that there was going to be a swap deal between AS Roma and Manchester United for Marcus Rashford and Abrante friend Manu Kone. There has been no update on that, but PSG have been linked with Rashford in the recent transfer window, right? And let's see. Even Barcelona are still trying to explore an opportunity for another loan spell, keeping him. But there's nothing clear from the player's camp assistants. Fenerbahce no peno. So it's not as though he will not have suitors. He will have suitors, but Club Ben Obokakusi Akanyamo is the question. Right, and Fenerbahce are the newest clubs to enter into the race for Abrante. So they have added Marcus Rashford to their shortlist for the summer window, and Rafael Leao and Ismail Assar are also part of that Fenerbahce shortlist. So let's see how it goes for Abrante and friend Marcus Rashford, he could move to Fenerbahce. Guys, Rodri's replacement has been found. Rodri's replacement has been found at Manchester City, and Manchester City have agreed personal terms, or should I say verbal agreement, with Rodri, new replacement. And guess who that replacement is? Ayub Buadi. Ayub Buadi. Inti Ayub Buadi, no, this is the update. According to Florian Plettenberg, Manchester City have agreed verbal agreement, have reached a verbal agreement with Ayub Buadi and remain in negotiations with Lille to complete the transfer. The report states that City are leading the race for the 18-year-old despite interest from several top European clubs. The Premier League side view Buadi as one of the brightest young midfielders in Europe, and he can become a key player in the future. Until let's see. However, signing Buadi would not automatically signal Rodri's departure. Man City continue working on a new contract while preparing a contingency plan if the Spaniard leaves. Negotiations with Lille are expected to prove difficult. The French club value Buadi at around 100 million euros. Both clubs are therefore exploring different structures to reduce the overall cost, including a loan with an option to buy or deferred payments. Ayub Buadi. Ayub Buadi. 100 million euros for Ayub Buadi. Charlie. Man City honestly cannot also too much from Kakra. But according to Florian Plettenberg, that is something that is going on. The discussions are still going on. And that's Sky Sports in Germany. They are reporting this. Yeah, our eyes are on the ground for Ayub Buadi's potential transfer to Manchester City. And then, guys, Diogo Costa. Chelsea are ready to trigger Diogo Costa's 60 million euros release clause, with Xabi Alonso identified the Porto goalkeeper as his final marquee signing. In the end, signing midfielder, wow, let's see. But Diogo Costa, 60 million euros. Chelsea followed through. Xabi Alonso said they are ready to pay that amount. So we'll keep our eyes on that one as well. Guys, this has been Onside with me, Joshua Holotu. You can also call me Top High Fabrizio. I'll bring you more updates later in the day. But don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your post notifications. Click on the all button at the top. Anytime I drop a video, you'll be one of the first people to receive it. Until I come your way again, I'll see you in the next one.